How Did We Get Here? Starring Mouse and Creep. Episode 15. Ghosts Don't Like Your Clone Wars House or Surgery Family.
I don't remember what I was going to start this off with.
Oh, do you? I thought you had it in your phone.
I thought I did, but I super don't.
Does that mean that I start?
I don't give a fuck what you do.
Okay. So, the reason we haven't been here the last couple weeks...
What are you talking about? We've been putting an episode up. We recorded those ones beforehand, but...
Yeah,
it's been sparsely going out. And
yeah.
We changed our content for 2 weeks, and we apologize for that.
Yeah. The reason it hasn't been up for a little while is because I had stomach surgery. I had a hernia taken care of that was bulging out of my stomach. It actually looked like a piece of cauliflower was behind there or something like that. I mean, I've had an Audi all my life, but this was something...
Really?
This was something fucking different.
You're a monster.
But they put me... Like, I walk in the room and I see the doctor. I need to understand, like, when this doctor gave me my first...
Sodomy?
Yes. What is that? My first...
Butt fuck?
No. My first prostate exam.
I was right?
You were right. Sodomy.
Remember, when people have a pause in their thought process, I have to throw a random word.
Yeah. No, when he gave me my first... I want to say proctology exam. When he gave me my first prostate examination... I'm fine, by the way. What exactly is a prostate examination? Well, you see, your prostate is a thing inside of your asshole that's kind of like a donut.
And I'm out.
And the doctor's responsibility is to root around in there and make sure the donut hasn't become a bagel. But after he pulled his fingers out of me, when he pushed them in, I went... I lifted...
That's better than what most people do.
I lifted my leg a little bit. But when he pulled them out, I looked to him and I went, "You and I have now been more intimate than my wife and I." But he lays me down and he goes, "Okay, so I have here a completely clean, I want to say antiseptic, towel. We're gonna lay that on your stomach." Then he puts a needle in my belly button. I have a very sensitive belly button, and more so
most people do,
and more so now when I had a fucking hernia. And he puts one in. Then he pulls it out, and after a couple moments, he puts in another one. Then he puts in another one. I didn't know at this point in time, but at the third needle, I had actually bent the needle. So instead of it going straight, it curved.
Neat.
And by the fifth needle, it actually jutted at like a 70-degree angle. Not a 70. 60. Is it 60? Straight down 60 or straight down 90?
Straight down's 90.
Okay, so it was about
I'm the dumb one. Don't try to steal my shit.
It was bent at like a 30-degree angle, so it was off to the side. And when he's done sticking these fucking needles in me, of which case I'm going like, oh god, because it fucking hurts. I would have much rather have had the spinal I had before. I was actually really pissed off because the drugs that I had the first time I had hernia surgery were way better than the drugs I had the second time. I actually felt let down the second time.
Well, you also have a slight immunity to it. It's the same thing when people have like a painkiller addiction. Painkillers stop doing anything for actual pain.
Well, like the first time I did it though, like the anesthesiologist gives me like a cocktail. This time I didn't have an anesthesiologist. I had a nurse who said nothing, and this guy. And I love this guy. But he starts like push on my stomach. Just, do you feel that? Do you feel that? Yes, I feel that. You feel that? Well, I don't feel any pain, but I feel pressure. And he goes, "Oh, okay, that's fine." So I'm laying on my back.
I think the idea of you turn your head and he full throttle like elbows you in the stomach. Did you feel that?
Well, the thing, as he's doing his shit, I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can't feel the pain, but I can feel what he's doing. I can feel him opening me up. I can feel him tucking my guts back inside of me. I can feel all that shit. And it's really unnerving me because I'm laying on the ground going, I'm laying on the ground. It was in
an alley.
It was on the sidewalk just outside.
He used a Swiss Army knife and filled me full of heroin. It was a good time.
But I'm laying there and going, why doesn't it hurt? Why doesn't it hurt? Because you're on fucking drugs, dumbass. But it was not a great couple days recovery.
Never is.
I was on some really nice, really strong medication for the pain. But I gotta tell you, I have not had one solid dump since surgery. And I have been taking medication that is supposed to cause constipation. So one of us isn't doing our job.
Well, meds also... That when they say that, like, the med is going to do this, it's very... They go by, like, the broad average. It's not exact.
Yeah.
Like, some people react different to different drugs depending on your body chemistry. Like, most people, when they have morphine, feel fucking amazing. And deals with all their pain, and it deals with all that stuff. When I have morphine, I slowly die. I'm hyper allergic to it, apparently.
I love how it's apparently.
Well, because they gave it to me once, and then I threw up blood. And then the second time, they're like, maybe he's not allergic to it. I'm like, how do you not know I'm allergic to it? And they gave it to me, and I did the same thing again. And then when they took me off morphine, for like a good month and a half, I didn't feel right. Like, I could still feel where they put the morphine. And I was just like, my arm is dead to me now.
Well, it's like when I was in, we gotta stop coming back to the hospital all the time.
Hospitals and homeless people are our bread and butter, okay?
Yeah. But when I was in the hospital for my pituitary thing, and I had the IV, I'm having a hard time believing it was in this arm and not this arm. This arm just feels like the IV kind of arm, but it was in this arm. And they had to take me in for a, not a CAT scan. They were giving me an MRI. And they had to inject me with this shit. But when they injected me with it, they injected me too quickly. And I felt my vein stretch to accommodate.
Yeah,
that is a feeling I will never forget and never grow accustomed to. Because that is something that under no circumstances in the human body should be stretching.
Well, who knows? You might do it a couple more 100,000 times and get used to it.
I'm replaying it. You have triggered me.
We are a resilient species. We can take pain.
You have triggered me. It is now in my head.
Don't say triggered. You're not a fucking 13-year-old girl on Reddit.
But, yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to How Did We Get Here? My name is Mouse.
And I'm Creep. I forgot we didn't do that.
Yeah, and welcome back from our little bitty hiatus.
Well, we still have an episode we haven't posted yet.
Yeah, I didn't do the intro for it.
And we still haven't posted one of them to YouTube. One of them's on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
You are awful at this.
I've been busy. I've been really busy.
Laying on the ground crying.
Laying on the ground crying, yeah. Well, we just got ice cream yesterday, so I'm actually quite happy about it. And it's really bad. It's like, do you want to get ice cream? Sure, it's only $5. Okay, what do you want? Do you want cookies and cream? No, I don't like cookies and cream. Okay, do you want rum butter raisin? No, I don't want rum butter raisin.
I'm not 59.
How about Neapolitan? Would you like Neapolitan? Everyone's at least kind of content. You like 2 out of 3 flavors when it comes down to Neapolitan.
Just scoop out the one you don't want.
Yeah. like okay. I like the chocolate and vanilla, but I don't like the strawberry. So I'm just gonna take the spoon and make a divide between the chocolate and the strawberry. And I'm gonna take out all the strawberry and put it on your bowl, and you can have all the strawberry in this in one go. That way, I still have 2 goes of chocolate and vanilla. No, I don't want Neapolitan. Okay, then you pick. How about vanilla? Are you okay with vanilla? No, I don't want vanilla.
It's just like,
fine, we'll get 2 then.
Like the idea of you having an active fight about ice cream in a safe way.
We were having an active fight in No Frills about ice cream.
That's even worse.
Like I said, okay, there's all these flavors. You didn't want any of the ones I named, so I'll let you pick. And she leans over and goes, how about vanilla? No! You want vanilla? You take vanilla. I'm going to grab Heavenly Hash. And I grabbed Heavenly Hash because I'm that complicated.
That shit's expensive. Ben & Jerry's now.
Ben & Jerry's, yeah. I did, but it wasn't at Ben & Jerry's. It was, I think it was Breyers. I'm not buying Haagen-Dazs. That shit's even more expensive because it's imported. But, I think.
Probably. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah. But, no, it was on for $5 a carton. So we got 2 cartons.
I just like the idea of the people
and more ribs.
The employees of No Frills are just like, are they gonna have a divorce? As you're yelling at each other in the aisle. I love those moments when you make someone in retail's life a little bit better because they're confused and then they spend the rest of their life thinking, why? Yesterday I went to the mall because I needed I needed clay so I could clay up a mold. But Walmart has zero clay. Like, nothing, the one by my place.
I'm a little surprised that you would go into Walmart expecting to find clay.
Well, I didn't want to go down to Michael's or anything like that. And so I go to the dollar store, and I was like, well, Play-Doh works. Same thing. So I bought, like...
Throw it in the oven, it melts just the same as any other cookie without flour.
Well, you just need something to clay up the master. But I bought 35, because that was all they had, containers of Play-Doh.
Okay.
Like lime green Play-Doh.
Oh, so you're in this for the long run.
Well, yeah, I needed clay for something, so I have all the things. But yeah, just the look on this woman's face, like this 30-year-old.
Was it Play-Doh or plasticine?
Play-Doh.
Oh, Jesus!
Like
Play-Doh's gone downhill.
It's cheap. It's like $1 a can, so.
Like legitimately, like officially licensed.
Yes.
Like the yellow can with the.
Yeah, they're like that big, and they're like $1.
What's happened?
I don't know. But, yeah, I grabbed, like...
I remember those things being like $7 a piece.
Yeah, no. I grabbed, like, 35 of them. Like, that was all they had. And, like, brought it up to the counter and put it down. And she just, like, 30-year-old bearded man buying Play-Doh. You don't
in mass quantities.
Like, you don't have a kid. What kid is going to go into a van for Play-Doh? Like her mind was just going insane. Just, what? Why?
Like, I remember, like, you know, when you're younger, I don't know how we got onto this topic, but
who cares?
When you're younger, your parents are always saying, you know, don't get into a stranger's car. If a stranger offers you a ride or says he has candy or a puppy, don't.
Did you ever see the Family Guy one?
No.
Or it's a van pulls up to Peter when he was like 6 or whatever, and it was like, "Hey kid, you want to come in my van and get a bunch of candy?" He goes, "My mom says I'm not allowed to." And then he's like, the next day he's reading the newspaper. It says local boy gets lifetime supply of candy from van.
It could have been me.
And he's like this kid's like losing his mind, covered in candy, and he's like, "Huh!" And he runs outside, and the kid's like, "Hey kid, you want some candy?" He's like, "Yeah!" He gets in the van, and the next newspaper is Peter crying as local boy molested. Anyway, go on.
I remember like when your parents say that, and I looked at my sister, who is 2 years younger than me, so an adult making adult decisions with adult things and adult responsibilities, and I said, if a stranger drove up to you in a black van offering a puppy, would you get in? She goes, "Fuck yeah, I love puppies." "How about candy? Would you do it for candy?" "Yeah, I like candy too." "How did you not eat the most marbles between us?" Marbles look like candy.
To be honest, I would tell him to show me. Open the back of the van. If there's not 3 guys with masks in there and there's legitimately a bunch of puppies, I'll think about it. But why do I need to get in the van? Yeah, you got through your logic loop. Why do I need to get in the van to get the puppy?
This is a really bad stance to take.
Just get out and grab the puppy and hand me the puppy. Bring the puppy.
Just bring the puppy to me. I'm not going to go into the van to get a puppy. You bring the puppy out.
It's not a Craigslist posting. I'm not going into your weird van. You meet in neutral ground outside a coffee shop, and you go, "Are you the guy here for the piano?" And he's like, "Well, I'm the one holding the piano, so I don't think a lot of people wander around with pianos in their hands." And he's like, "All right.
I want to be neutral ground with lots of people."
And then you smell the piano. You're like, "Why does it smell like cum?" And he's like, "Mind your business, buy the piano."
Look, a piano's a piano.
No matter how much semen is touched it.
Look, you don't understand how many hookers have died on this piano. It's a free piano, okay? Who cares where it's been? You can either pay $800, $900, up to $1,800 for a half-decent new piano, or you can get this free one that's had at least 4 dead hookers on it. Do you want the piano or not?
It was like that actual Craigslist poster.
I really thought the stereo came with the amp.
That Craigslist post that was giving away a $3,500 mattress and box spring and the bed frame and everything. And it was like completely free, brand new $3,500 box spring mattress and frame. And it was like, oh, that's a pretty good free. And it was like the subline thing or whatever says need to make room. And then you actually clicked on it and read it. I didn't, someone else did, but it was, hey, we just bought this mattress set. 2 days ago, and it's brand new. We just don't want it because my grandma died on it. And if you're okay with someone being dead on the mattress for 12 hours, it's free. It's just like, no.
I'm willing to buy it. What am I afraid? The grandma's going to come back and haunt me?
You don't know. She might have been
her soul attached to. Okay. I gotta talk about this.
You don't have to. You want
No, I
to.
got. We're talking about ghosts.
Okay, hold on. If you don't talk about it, we're gonna explode. Wait. Nope.
Okay, so my wife and I we love watching Ghost Adventures. I love it.
I don't know what that is. I don't have cable.
It's a show.
Is it like the other 18 ghost hunting shows?
Yes.
Where it's just guys wandering through a dark warehouse going, ah, ah, ah,
ah. Did you hear that? It sounds like a. that sounds no way. I think that might be the sound that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
There's only been one of those shows that I actually was more interested in. And I can't remember the name of it now. I want to say it's Unsolved Mysteries, but that's not it. It was a show. Someone's going to know it. But it used to be on those kind of channels where they had Ghost Hunter ones. But it was a guy who was like his father, his grandfather or something was like the guy who was the person who had the original books that like Ripley's Believe It or Not's books were based on and shit like that.
Okay.
Where it's like now his great-grandson also does it. But it was like he's a super hard skeptic. And he goes into these scenarios. Like the first half of the show is him going to the country where they believe in it and essentially mocking these people openly about it.
Okay.
And he's like really charming and clever, so he does it on like a very he could call you a piece of shit. You
mean like that I want to say indigenous, but they're not really indigenous. That woman who had like 48 neck discs.
Yeah.
And her spine was like technically outside of her body, but all the tendons were still connected.
No, I don't know about that.
Oh, I went to Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Oh.
To the actual building.
Yeah, well, yeah, his grandfather.
Yeah,
probably.
and bunch of weird shit. Like there was one guy who was like balanced on, because Ripley's Believe It or Not now is kind of like Guinness. It's kind of like the Guinness Book of World Records. And I gotta say that it's really confusing to just say Guinness, because when I say Guinness, I mean Guinness Book of World Records. People think beer.
Yeah.
But it was this black guy who was sitting on top of it was like a stack of soccer balls and basketballs, just like a stack of 7 balls, and then in his mouth he had 3 billiard balls.
What the hell?
I don't know. That was Believe It or Not, he could do this.
But anyway, there's this show where he did it, and then he would he'd bring all the camera equipment that all these other people have, high end shit, and then kind of debunk it that this doesn't happen. He'd only do it in a couple days, but he'd still be like, well, there's no proof. And the only one I ever watched where I actually went okay, that might actually be real, is they went to this place. Some people know about it. It's the Island of Lost Dolls. It's this island,
know of it.
There's an island in the Philippines. It's full of hundreds of thousands of abandoned child's toys, dolls. Everywhere. Straight typed up to the trees, hanging from things. There's little shacks and buildings that people used to have barbecues on, full of dolls. There's hundreds of them. You walk onto this little tiny island and it's just
that place at night
ever.
With bonfires all around has got to be the setting for the next Amnesia game.
Yeah, but anyway, he was trying to say listen, it's just some guy who finds kids' toys on the beach or something, or he buys them from thrift stores, and this is his art form or something. It's got to be what it is. And he's doing an interview sitting in front of this wall of them. And there's one doll just right behind him. It's a creepy one that's being it has a noose around its neck essentially.
Okay.
And it's sitting there and its eyes are closed because it's one of those ones where the eyes hinge.
Yeah, so when the doll is laying up,
him,
it's up, and when it's laying down, it goes down.
And behind him, its eyes open. Both of them at the same time. These are old dolls too, forever in dirt. Both of its eyes open, and his camera guy goes, "What?" And then the guy, I think his name's Josh, turned and went, "What?" And there was its eyes were closed when his head blocked the frame for a half second. And he was like, "What? That thing's eyes opened. I have it on film." And he's like, "No." And then they look back at him and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I need to go home."
You know what? Ghosts, fine. Because I personally don't believe in ghosts. I can't. But on Ghost Adventures, my favorite one is they go into this old bunker with their machine that goes gang, 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 gang. And it's who sent you? who sent you? If you're here, who sent you? And nothing happens. They have to go back and like play the tape over to hear anything. It's been like 15 seconds of this douchebag wandering around. Who sent you? And they play it back and the guy was like, no. And they go, the devil! And they freak out because the devil sent this fucking guy. But it was this show where this fucking medium, who I want excommunicated from society, tarred, feathered, and
before I go to that whole audio thing, there was actually a guy who proved that that's bullshit because he went around, got like 10 microphones that were like way higher end than this one that we're using, and did the same thing where he just put them in. I mean, like in
quote unquote haunted
on roofs, in fields, in forests where there's nothing around, and just static noise. And then went through and found like little wavelengths, and he's like, I can make these sound like words. You just got to mess with the audio file, and it was just like a cricket in the background, like a mile and a half away. Just that little the devil. See right there. That's proof. Really?
Goose. Well, that's what I was saying. That I can't remember who said it, but he said that they got lasers, they got tripwires, they got cameras, they got slow motion cameras, they got heat cameras, they got static cameras, they got electromagnetic cameras, they got microphones that pick up a gnat's fart from 200 miles away. They got flashlights, they got certain kinds of powder, they got lasers, they got everything except a fucking ghost. But it's really interesting, that show sometimes, because they basically go in, it's like, I actually felt someone strangling me just there. Well, it's a shame they didn't fucking keep going.
Follow through, ghost.
But they bring in this fucking bitch and I'm just gonna call her a bitch. I hope if she will never hear this, but I hope she does. You're a bitch.
Wait, do you know her name?
No, I don't.
But does she have a show or something that you could like reference?
It's one of those ghost hunting shows.
If anyone knows who he's talking about by the end of this, let her know. Email her. Like,
you're a bitch.
Send her this podcast.
But it's her and like her friend, and
okay.
she's like a medium, a really powerful medium.
What do you mean by powerful? Like, can she like float things with her mind?
No, it just means that she's really well connected to the spirit world somehow, according to just her. Anyway. And her friend was like an old deputy or something like that.
The only time that can be, I will believe that, is if it's in a controlled environment that I'm controlling, and she is like a mile away and on a walkie-talkie, and I flip over a card in a completely sterile room with nothing, and go, what is the ghost in this room telling you is on the card? And if she can go, Jack of Spades, I will go, well, then fuck, you're a medium, and I'll drop the radio, and I'll go back into my life and go, well, mediums exist.
Well, it's one of those things like, call up Miss Cleo, if you remember Miss Cleo, if Miss Cleo is still a thing.
Probably.
Call her up, and if she does not pick up the phone before the first ring, just hang up. You had your chance. Or it was one of those...
You should have already had the phone to your ear and holding down the receiver, because she has one of those old dial-up. Now, and she lets go and it's like, ring, hello. It's like,
oh shit, that actually worked.
I didn't even get a third of a ring down.
But or it's one of those things. The writer of the horoscopes for, I think it was the New York Times, was fired. This was years ago.
By the way, if you're believing this stuff, it's not that we're saying that you're dumb.
I'm saying you're dumb.
Okay, well, that's his hardline stance. Please don't stop listening to us. That was I'm fucking exhausted. Apparently, I feel awake.
But I was reading a book where apparently like the guy who writes the horoscopes for like the New York Times or something like that was fired in email from from the editor, and the editor started off the firing email with, "As you have no doubt foreseen." But anyway, this bitch goes into this house where this family of like two other dumb bitches and one dumb bastard, and the guy does not believe it. He really doesn't believe it. He thinks the women I think it's his girlfriend and his daughter.
He was paid to not believe it.
I think it's either his girlfriend and his daughter or his wife and her daughter. But these two bitches, and I'm not saying that because they're women, they're just dumb bitches who are like, I wake up with scratches all over my body, And I feel like there's a really evil presence in here.
I wrote it scratches on my body, and I'm always itchy at night, and I just got my nails done, and I don't know where all these scratches are coming from.
And she comes in look like Nosferatu or some shit.
Like, she just...
But the medium comes in and she swims around the room. She walks and she
does that
this.
like she should be hovering like Dracula's bride.
Yeah. And she does that through the room.
Alarak.
And then she and then she sits down with the two women and the guy and she says, okay, this is who the spirit is. It's one of those bullshit angry Native American. I gotta say, the Native Americans need to stop being such dicks when they're dead. Because everywhere you go, it's always a dead Native American spirit.
I want, a dead accountant who has no real quorums.
Yeah.
Like she walks in, she's like, there's a dead accountant in here. And I'm like, well, he hasn't done anything. It's like, well, no, he's just minding his business. He's just sitting in the corner, and he's, staring at my tax papers. And then he just writes.
He wants to do it, but he can't turn the pages.
Yeah, it's like, I turn them the next day I wake up and on my whiteboard it's all written out, my tax stuff. Like, wow, he's
I was gonna say,
bravo, sir.
You have a haunted accountant when you have a shower, and then the when you get out, the mirror fogs up, and it's your tax return, how much you get. And it zooms in the inside of your mouth, and that thing is moving at the back of your throat, your uvula. Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Why aren't there any cool ghosts?
There are no cool ghosts.
I want a ghost who's going around and doing stuff, but when he fucks up stuff, he's doing the dishes. It's I come into the house and the dishes are done. And he's just says on the board.
Damn it, ghost, stop doing dishes. That's his job.
Board, it's I thought it's the least I could do or something like that. Not go home.
I understand we had a bit of a rough night last night, so I did the dishes. Sorry. But she brings in okay. So first off, it's an evil Native American spirit, okay? So first we need to bring in this kind of shaman and this kind of doctor and this kind of rainmaker so they can kind of exercise and send it on to the next world.
What does a rainmaker have to do with
I don't
ghosts?
fucking know. Then we need to bring in a priest. And not just
Ghosts
any kind of
need
priest.
rain.
We need to bring in this kind of priest for oils, this kind of priest for an exorcism, this kind of priest for this. Okay, first you're bringing...
Exorcism? No one's possessed.
Now here's the problem. Is first off, you're lending credence to the fact that any religion with what kind of priest? Do we need a Catholic priest, a Christian priest, a Jewish priest, a Mormon priest, a Buddhist priest? What kind of priest do we need? Then you're lending credence that not only is their faith right, but the Native Americans as well are right.
Yeah, everyone's right in the spirit
Everyone
world.
is right in the spirit world. But it's okay, and so I can't imagine the amount of money that this is gonna fucking cost. And I can see it in the guy's face that this is how much is this going to cost? And he looks at the woman and he goes, and what's going to happen if we just decide to let this go? And she looks to him and dead-faced, serious, she says, you'll kill your family. I'm thinking just shove her out now. Just kick her out, look in the camera and say she's full of shit and send her out.
If I were her, I'd look her dead in the eye and goes, okay, since you know I'm going to kill my family, do I kill them in an expensive way?
Will it be cheaper or more expensive to kill my family and try to get rid of the bodies without anybody noticing, or to bring in all these priests on the off chance that their religion is right?
That's
it. I'm watching this show and I'm thinking, not only should you not have a show, you should be charged. Every episode you should be fined for being a charlatan. Because then another episode came on while I was making dinner and my wife is watching it because we want to watch these stupid fucking shows. And I'm making dinner, cooking my sausage. And again...
Sausage?
Snossage.
You're not a dog.
And again the guy turns to her and says, and what do you think is going to happen if we don't get rid of the spirit? And she goes, you'll kill your daughter. It's like... Just kick her out. What is the problem? And it's like, in the end, they decided to move. Really? They sold their home because you said you'll kill your family.
She's just walking around swagging it. That's all she does.
Yeah, and it just infuriates me.
That's all she does. She swags everything.
You're swagged. Stop swagging.
Swag is a Marine Corps term. It means scientific wild-ass guess.
I didn't know that.
Yeah?
I guess that's why you're the military guy and I'm not.
I'm not in the military. I just like it.
You know what it's called when you give your name at the beginning of a recording? A slate. Now we both learned something.
Time to kill myself. What's the other one I know? A sob. It's a flag term. Means seal on a bed sheet.
Seal on a bed sheet?
What they call city flags in the States that have like their city seal on a flag.
Oh, okay.
Because it looks dumb.
And that's a military thing.
No,
seal
that's
on a bed
a
sheet.
vexillological thing. Just flag people.
Oh, okay. I know topographical.
But I shoot you in the face. Okay,
I
we're not
can
going to
do
do this. We're not going to do fun facts with Mouse and
No.
Creep today.
No, but it's insanity, these fucking things. But I gotta say, some of these shows are pretty good. I love when they have these fucking cameras that like they show the guy and the guy is in green and everything else is in gray and different variations of gray, and then all of a sudden like this fucking stick figure will start dancing in the corner. And the fucking machine will be like, anomaly detected. And it's just this stick figure. Seriously, like box line, triangle body.
Like the web
stick,
framing
like,
when you're building a game.
Exactly, like the skeleton of
it's T-posing around.
and it's just dancing in place, and then just like, whoa, I saw something over there. Just it wasn't a ghost.
It was post-production.
Why is it that all these ghosts are always dancing? Why isn't one just sitting on the fucking bed? They're always dancing on the bed. Is death just, he's like, woo, look at me! See how full of shit these guys are.
I don't know. Like, I want to know why I know people are going to say, oh, it's because they have unfinished business. But you're telling me
it doesn't cause you to dance.
No, but you're telling me the only people who have unfinished business are people whose unfinished business is evil shit?
Yeah, they're always bad people.
Like, if I died right now, my unfinished business would be to finish this podcast. Why wouldn't I spend the rest of my life haunting you, trying to like, turn on the microphone?
And I have to keep doing the podcast, otherwise, like, okay.
And you're just talking to fucking nothing.
Okay, down in California, there's a place called the Winchester House. I don't know if you know the Winchester House, and the wife went crazy? Okay. The medium said that as long as she kept building on the house, that the ghost of her dead husband, who I'm fairly certain died filthy rich and had no unfinished fucking business because he could buy his business, will not haunt you. And here's the thing, like she said that I went there, so like the tour guide was talking about this shit, and she was talking about how like she was afraid like the ghosts of all those that had died from the Winchester would haunt her. And I'm thinking, why the fuck, when someone has a gun pointed to their head, like let's just say you had a 1911 pointed to my head, the moment you pulled that trigger and the bullet passed through my brain and my spirit got angry, does it get angry at you?
No, it gets angry.
Or the gun manufacturer?
It gets angry at Samuel Colt, who is also dead, so you gotta go bug him in heaven.
See, and that's my problem. Did this bitch not think about this kind of thing? That the ghosts aren't angry at the guy that killed them, or even the government that sent them to war.
I want to know right now, because there is a statistic, and it's something like there has been 11 people in the past 10 years or something like that who have been murdered with a Bic pen. I want to know if there's a bunch of ghosts just floating around the Bic factory.
Oh,
or
number 2 pencils are better than you.
Or like people who died in arsons because of Bic lighters. I want to know these things.
Yeah.
How many ghosts are just like hanging out in McDonald's? Like, what do you mean I died because I was fat?
What about if you die from a shark? Do you haunt the shark?
Yeah.
Does the shark,
But no, here's the thing though. That's what I want to know is when you're a ghost, are you still a person ghost? Because apparently most of these guys have to walk around and knock shit out of people's hands. How do you keep up with a shark to haunt it? Well, you're not a shark man.
It brings me back actually to that Simpsons moment where Bart sells his soul to Milhouse. And Milhouse is like, just, what happens if you die in a submarine? Oh, it can swim. It also has wheels in case you die in a desert. I'm like, okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, you die in a desert. What is your soul going to use wheels for? To get back to civilization? And then once it's in civilization, does it haunt those who brought you out to the desert? Maybe it gets some supplies, some ghost snacks and water.
My problem with all this stuff
goes and haunts the vulture.
The problem with all this stuff is not so much that you believe it, or it's just the fact that there is no agreed upon logic.
Everyone's got a different opinion.
Everyone has a different opinion, and everyone knows.
Shut up, Carnage.
And everyone has this is what they do when they die. This is why people haunt things. This is how you detect ghosts. There is no basis. It's not like if you go to the ghost community at large and all go like, what happens to why are ghosts here? You'll come up with 1,000 different answers.
Yeah. And
there won't be one. There won't be one where everyone will go, this is the reason this is a thing. Like, why does Spider-Man have spider powers? There's not 1 billion people all going, Spider-Man has spider powers because he's a man. No, everyone knows there's a reason why he has spider powers. There has to be some...
Well, when it comes down to the concept of unfinished business, I really think that the only reason that came about, or at least in my mind, is because of Casper the Friendly Ghost. And they're going on the whole movie. The whole movie is going on about unfinished business.
His unfinished business was just sled and make out with Christina Ricci.
Yeah, but okay, let's just say that the whole point of Ghost coming back is to deal with unfinished business. How do you know that it's because they have unfinished business? Is it because you brought one of those things up and it was like, why are you here? Unfinished business. It's like, they're from this hole, Jesus! And they look in the camera.
Yeah, all that stuff, it's, like I said, I can't...
Maybe they just like it here more.
I can't, not, say that it's complete hokum because I can't prove that it's complete hokum.
Yeah.
I also can't prove that it's not.
Yeah.
So
I'm perfectly willing to shit all over
But
ghosts.
I'm not going to go out of my way to be like, oh yeah, you're fucking crap about it. Because I can't say that you're crap because all they're going to come back with is, how do you know? And all I can say is, well, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. How do you know? First-hand experience. When I was alone that one time during a power out and my cell phone was off. My friend was asleep.
But there needs to be... if there's that many ghosts, if you're saying that the reason ghosts exist, I don't know why we're talking about ghosts so much. But anyway,
I'm okay talking about
if you're
ghosts.
saying this is why ghosts
it's a lot easier of a topic than what I want to cover, but I'm not allowed to.
What, your scab?
Oh, I have to show you that.
No, we're not doing that.
No, look at this.
But anyway.
Look at this. Look at that.
That's it? It's nothing.
I know that, but that's all I've got. Oh. It's my fucking belly button. Were you expecting this whole fucking thing? I still got a bit of a bruise, though. God, I'm fat.
What was I saying? Fuck!
Talking about ghosts and shitting on them.
But there has been, up until this point, right now there's 7 billion people on this planet. I can't imagine the trillions of people who have lived on this planet. And you're telling me out of all of those people, there's only a couple who are ghosts? A couple people who have had unfinished business at very specific...
I'm fairly certain that everybody dies with regrets.
At very specific, creepy locations that are abandoned and don't have light and power. That's what you're telling me?
That out of all the people that have passed in and out of this building, all the people that have died in this city, that one guy who used to own it, who beat up that hooker that one time,
right now
decided to stick around.
This building we are sitting in used to be a forest. A forest where all the crackheads in this neighborhood used to hang out. I can't imagine the amount of corpses that were OD'd and found right under our feet at the moment. But apparently, they were fine with it because they were on heroin.
Maybe they're heroin ghosts, and they're just
But this is what I
they're
mean.
On the bottom floor in the basement, just kind of leaning up against the wall.
I need to know why exactly, if there are ghosts, why there's not so much that there's so much clutter that when you turn on those EMF things, it doesn't just fucking explode.
Everyone has something to say.
There's 7 trillion people all going, hey, I'm a ghost. I'm a ghost. You just...
Why are you here? The devil. It's always the devil. The devil did it. That isn't fair.
The devil has better shit to do.
The devil's got better shit to do than go, hey, go scare this family. Ooh, nefarious.
Well, it's that's why I liked Peter Stormare as the devil in Constantine. And
he was good.
The devil from Constantine in general, the comics and the show. Because he doesn't give a fuck. All the monsters, ghosts, and demons are doing their own thing. He is the top level management who has to deal with all this shit. So the last thing he cares about is dealing with people. He's like, okay, why are all these people just fucking about? Stop fucking about. Can you just put it down? God damn it! Like he's having a
I am so busy.
Like he has better shit to do than give a fuck about some boring ass house in Wisconsin and be like, yeah, go make those people scared.
Can you imagine, like, being him for just, like, 10 minutes, having to deal with that shit? Or, like, can you imagine what he's gone through 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
he just
365 days a year, busy.
He turns his desk and he, like, has those trays and he,
I like the idea that he has a desk.
He pulls it empty, like, the last tray and it's empty and he's like, thank God. And he goes and signs it and then he turns and the tray's just, like, 8.5 feet tall. God damn it!
Stop setting me up, I swear to God.
Anyway, going back to, like...
I swear to you, Dad!
Going back to that was...
Going back
Winchester.
to Ghosts in Wisconsin.
No, the Winchester house. I like those places that are fucking weird. I like watching them. I like going to them. There's that one, I can't remember. It is based on ghosts. It was I think it was a guy or a woman, went crazy because they thought that they were being haunted by their spouse. So the only way that they could not be chased by their spouse was to make their house confusing. And it's like not really a mansion, I'd say a manor. But it's got, like, hidden rooms and hidden staircases. And on, like, the 5th floor, it has a door that opens up to nowhere. Like, you just open the door and you'll just fall off and die 5 floors down. And shit like that. Like, they built their house completely crazy. Like an insane person would. Because the whole idea was he's being haunted. But the haunted ghost can only follow logic that a normal human could. He can't go through walls. He's a ghost. He still has to open doors. So this person was like building like stairways that had secret hinges and they could go up to their own room and like, I'm not being haunted at the moment. Be okay with it. And like shit like that. Like, so they had doors that go nowhere. And there was like one, like their main kitchen had like 7 doors that went into it on like the same wall. Because like the ghost would like be like, I'm going to haunt you, lady. And like, damn it!
There's a lot of doors.
Like, what door do I choose? And he's just sitting there like,
I'm not gonna wait for you to finish breakfast and come out, or I'll go out the front door and go around the back and come in the back door. If that key's under the mat, I'm coming in.
I just like those kind of like building. Like, there's that one in Victoria. I can't remember what it was called. It was like the guy who founded Victoria or whatever, his manor.
He's nuts?
No, he's not nuts, but it's just a cool building. Like, it's really weird. We have a couple pictures when we went there, but it was like, we get up to like I think it's the 4th or 5th floor, and you know how like in your guys' house, your old house had the game room that was your room?
Yeah.
Like that kind of like where it was a big tall ceiling, and it was a room like that, but it was the entire attic. It was huge. And I walked up and made the joke, because we have a tour guide who's kind of like a teenager, not really doing their job. And I made the joke to my girlfriend.
He was dry.
And her mom. And I was like, this is probably his dance floor. We had raves and cocaine parties. And the guy's like, this is where he usually had balls. They would have big dancing parties and have opiates. It's like, oh my God, I was right.
I really prefer your dance party with drugs and like hookers and blackjack.
It's like the 1800s, like guy, like, now everyone do your cocaine.
Everyone now. Yes, this is quite strong on the palate. Get some on your gums. Get some on your gums.
I just love those like weird buildings that shouldn't exist. There's that one that we have here in, I want to say the Yukon, where it's an entire city.
I'm sorry, where?
In the Yukon.
Where is the Yukon?
Above us.
There's nothing above us.
Well,
there is nobody gives a good goddamn above us.
All the territories.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
You live in Canada, man!
Yeah, I know that. What's above us right now?
The Yukon!
We're BC, and what's above us?
The Yukon. I'm 89% sure. Now you're making me skeptical. Anyway, it's one of those kind of places. But there's an entire city.
All I know is that, like, we have a bunch of provinces that go in, like, this straight line.
For fuck's sakes.
No, we have, like, there's a bunch of provinces that go in a straight line, and then nothing above us. And then Alaska.
But anyway, it's this entire city that was built in the 70s. And it was going to be this huge mining city. Where it's all of these, like, suburban homes were built. Fully furnished, fully everything. Roads.
Kind of like what they have in North Korea.
Convenience stores, corner stores, everything. But the thing was, the week or two before this mining city was supposed to exist, the mine ran dry.
Okay.
So no one moved in. So it's all these houses full of perfectly pristine 70s fridges, shag carpet, all weather sealed. So they haven't been fucked up much. They just need to be slightly like washed with a power washer. But it's an entire city that just no one ever lived in. Brand new, everything put in, built by some mining company that went bankrupt, and it's just there.
Huh.
It's so weird. And then like some Indian guy bought it, and he's gonna make it a...
This mine is haunted.
No, not that.
We have to bring in 3 kinds
East
of
Indian.
priests.
Asian Indian.
Okay.
Bought it, and he's gonna make it into like a resort. So come up and live in the 70s kind of thing. Like, but it's in like upper Canada. It's gonna be freezing 9 months out of the year. Don't do that. Yeah, it's just I like those weird places.
You didn't even ask for that to come up, and it came up.
No. But there's like that city in Japan that has all of the houses and all of the stores on the main streets all have a tunnel under them that go to a huge network of underground tunnels that were like meant for when Japan got invaded, because they were like, it's gonna happen. Little do they know, a bunch of bombs were dropped.
Rather than invade, we're gonna take a minimalist amount of effort to do the most amount.
Just like they're just
what the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were was lazy. You weren't willing to put in the manpower.
Did I ever tell you about the one where it was it's this guy? Yeah, the Yukon, motherfucker.
Yeah, I see BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, all those motherfuckers over there. And then there's just this gray area that's right here. That's all I see, man. I don't see anything. There's nothing. There's nothing. Above us is nothing. Is nobody gives a good goddamn, and Alaska. And Alaska is connected to the gray area.
Okay. Anyway, well, you made me think I was crazy.
My wife was talking to me that in fucking, I can't remember if it was Nova Scotia or New Brunswick, one of those fucking over to the far right areas that nobody cares about in the least, is, they're willing to give you, like, a house and 2 acres if you move there.
Yeah. Like, because they need a population to get certain tax things and crap like that.
You've got nothing. Nobody wants to be with you.
But, what was the other?
Being a voice actor in New Brunswick has got to suck.
Where was I going with that? Oh, there's this guy who's a comedian I was watching, and he was talking about how you're not a comedian until someone calls you garbage and you believe it. Like, you're just not.
Yeah.
You have to get to that lowest point to get to the highest high. And he was talking about he got booked to do a bunch of comedy shows in Japan. Did a shit ton of them. But the problem was most of them didn't know who he was. His name's like Pete Johansson, I think. So his agent booked it as learn English from a Canadian. That's the only reason people showed up to his show. And
I'd ask for my money back.
His thing is like he's telling him like they're like he's like, so I'd say a joke and then they would repeat the joke, and I'd be like, this is awful. And like the last day I just like, I want to go home, but I thought I might as well do the last show and get my money. So he did the last show, and there were a couple people there who actually there to see comedy because it was a Friday night. And at the end of it, this woman walks up and says, hi, she's an interpreter, and she goes, I really want this man here, he's kind of a famous person in Japan, wants to talk to you. And he walks up and he goes, and I recognized him because I'm really into history and stuff like that. I can't remember the guy's name. It's like Yamoto something. And this guy was one of the only survivors from the bombs dropped on Hiroshima. So he was fishing in his village and the first bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. He got horribly burnt on his stomach, got, I think, a rib broken, and then, like, everything he knew and loved was gone. His entire village was obliterated. Everything. And it was, like, for 48 hours or something like that, he dragged himself through mud with no shoes, like, hitchhiked on a train, and all this shit, like, burnt, bleeding, in the worst pain of his entire life. And he gets to his cousin's village, and the second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. And he watched 2 nuclear bombs within 3-day period burn everything he's ever known, loved, or cared about. And he goes, and he walked up to me and goes, you are the worst thing I have ever seen. Because I knew at that moment I had made it. I know this guy watched everything he knows and loves and cares about died.
Twice!
Watched 2 atomic bombs go off. Burn him to the point of he doesn't even look like a human anymore, and I was the worst thing he'd ever seen. He's partially blind now. Like, wow, I did it. I did it, Mom.
I don't know why, but mostly disfigured and screwed up flesh somehow made me think of Star Wars Pod Racer.
Like he was Watto.
I gotta Sebulba.
I liked him.
I get free food. If you saw Star Wars Episode 2, I'm guessing, did you see old Sebulba hanging out at the bar?
What's Episode 2?
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
That's an awful movie. But
we're not going into that.
There's actually this really funny picture of Anakin Skywalker after he was knocked off of what I can only assume are the Naboo versions of cows, who are basically like these small-legged, small-headed creatures with great big asses that he was riding on the back of, and then he falls off, and then Padme comes over to, Anakin, are you okay? And she turns him over, and he's laughing, but his, like, face is, like, sunk back into his skull, and he's just like mid-laugh with his mouth open and his face inside of his head. It's really fucked up. But that was an awful movie.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that. Like I said, I like the clones, and I like a lot of like the cartoons and stuff from that era.
Clone War cartoon was sick.
But I can't like those movies very much. I like a couple of the fight scenes and stuff like that, but just how whiny Anakin is. Like, I don't want to get into this, but he's just such a whiny little bitch.
He's a whiny little bitch, yeah. No, I agree with you. You don't need to get into it. We're all in agreement. Anakin is a dick.
I love that picture, though, where it's Anakin as a kid, and it was talking to Qui-Gon Jinn, and he's like, where'd you get that lightsaber? Are you a Jedi? And he goes, no, maybe I got it off a Jedi. And he goes, you couldn't get it off a Jedi. He goes, maybe I killed a Jedi. And he's like, no one can kill a Jedi. And then it cuts to like the last movie. He's like, and then he killed all the Jedi.
No one can kill a Jedi. Kills all the Jedi.
Just immediately just massacring them left, right, and center.
I'm going to see if I can find that picture real quick of Anakin laughing.
Okay.
But I really liked the Kirby Morrow was talking about, he did the voice of Grievous from the, and he was talking about how when he went to audition for the part of Grievous, it was a different kind of audition, because I've only been to auditions for Beyblades and My Little Pony.
Yeah.
And the My Little Pony audition was way different than the Beyblades audition. Way different. And he found the guy who, not found like physically, but like went online on like YouTube, and found the guy who was doing the voice of General Grievous and wanted to do General Grievous's voice the way he did it. And so he watched the way that the guy who did General Grievous did the voice, and the accent the guy has, like a Scandinavian accent or some shit like that. And he wanted to do General Grievous the way General Grievous did General Grievous. And so he like puts his hands in front of his mouth, like, start up the shields!
Yeah.
And he went for the audition, and the audition was him in front of a microphone and the sound guy on the other side of the glass, but they were on a Skype call with like 6 people on this screen, and he could like see up on the screen, and there was 6 people in the call listening to him do the voice. Okay. And he did that one line, he went, perfect, that's great, we got our Grievous, that's the guy, that's the voice we want, that's the guy we want. He said, wonderful. So they flew him down to California, and when he got to California, they put him up in a room, and they brought him down to the studio to record, and he gets in front of the microphone, he puts his hands in front of the mic, and he does his first line. The guy says, oh, no, don't put your hands in front of your mouth. Don't put your hands in front. We'll put those effects on ourselves. We're fine. And he's sitting there and goes, I've been practicing this for 3 weeks now with my hands in front of my face the entire time.
I can't do this.
I know the way to move my hands in order to make the voice the way that I want. And now this man is telling me not to do that. I'm boned. But it turned out just fine.
Like his voice is completely like, oh, let's go and have some fun, guys.
I was like, that's not the voice we wanted.
I do absolutely. If you've never watched the original animated, and there was like a bunch of shorts that they end up turning into a movie. It's like a 30-minute movie or something like that. Watch them where it's like hand-drawn animation. Because there's a scene in that where they're trying to rescue the senator guy. And there's a bunch of Jedi and a bunch of clone troopers. And they get into it, like, General Grievous is chasing them down in this big city siege. Mm-hmm. And they get into the elevator, and the elevator's going down. And since it's Coruscant? Yeah. Like, it's like a planet-sized city. It's this gigantic elevator going down at like 100 miles an hour. And like they finally just outrun Grievous because they're in an elevator. And then you hear, and they look, and he's running down the building full throttle. Like his body isn't moving, his legs are. Like he's that perfectly balanced. And then he just like turns his head and looks at them, and they're all like, and they all like have that moment of, we are fucking boned. And this rocket guy just like picks up his rocket, loads in a shell.
While Grievous is running down the side of the fucking...
calmly turns at him and just like points and just like, BAM!
Then there's a huge explosion and he still missed.
Yeah, you apparently can't.
Okay, I can't find the face. I can only find that one.
Oh god, that's awful.
That's pretty fucking bad, but that's still not the one I'm looking for.
That's one of my favorite things to do on Netflix now, when my girlfriend gets up a lot, so I pause it a lot. But like when you're watching something and you pause and it's like the perfect moment.
I typed in Anakin Skywalker mouth and a bunch of dogs came up.
But yeah, like watching, I think it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Terry Crews, just pausing on any scene where he's yelling is fucking priceless. His face is so like, Gah! I love that stuff. I also like putting closed captions on YouTube now. It's kind of fun to do. Especially when it's British people talking, because the closed caption doesn't understand what they're doing. I was watching...
I'm pretty sure that's the face.
Yeah. I was watching these British guys play Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I accidentally clicked closed captions. Oh, God.
I'm going to put this down.
I accidentally clicked closed captions, and the subtitles didn't understand what they were saying because they have thick British accents. And it was the funniest shit. And I told them to watch their own video and put the captions on. And they sent me each one of the guys sent me a comment back saying, thank you. This hurts how much we're laughing. Because they're like, I can't do a British accent right now, but it's like, go up to the left, and the thing was like, eat a banana. Like, stuff like that. Like, it doesn't even kind of understand what they're saying. It's like, I'm just going to get into the truck, and it's like, wow, I like the color red, and shit like that. Like, the subtitling for YouTube actually picks up what they're saying. Like, it's not pre-written out. Because there's so many YouTube videos.
Yeah, like, I was watching, I've only turned it on really one time, but, because I was told to. It was on a Markiplier video, where he was going to California and just telling his fans, hey, I'm going to California, I'm going to bring my Oculus Rift and we'll play some games maybe. And the subtitles were like, the line was, but Markiplier, weren't you just in Los Angeles? And he goes, yeah, baby, but Markiplier has got to go back. Yeah. But the bottom, it was like, Markiplier goes to go get gas. Or something like that.
What the hell?
It was fucking great.
I love those things where it's like, this is technology, look how advanced it is, and then it's like, it doesn't work.
It falls apart.
Like Siri.
Look how advanced this technology, and it's broken.
And that's Siri. Siri does that a lot.
Yeah, I love Siri.
Just Siri, look up platypuses. Looking up cat. What?
Or like those commercials that are like Siri, look up Alice in Chains. And it's, is it called Alice in Chains? Is that the band is called? Yeah. Alice in Chains? Okay. Look up Alice in Chains. It's like, doo-doop, looking up, chalicing pains. No!
But you know what? I've already gone down the rabbit hole. Let's see what's in here.
Okay, so how did we get here? The last thing we were talking about was
fucked up technology.
Technology that doesn't work. Anakin Skywalker is a bitch. Clone Wars was really good. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer.
fucked up face.
Then, bombs being dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
I like that jump. Now, how did we get from ghosts to Hiroshima?
I was talking about Japanese buildings, that weird village. Talking about weird buildings.
The Winchester. Stupid that fucking bitch and her dumbass TV show. Medium Ghost Hunters. How did we get to talking about Ghost Hunters? How did we get from my stomach to Ghost Hunters? How the fuck did we get from my... That's the beginning of the episode.
I got it. Well, that was an episode.
Okay. Thanks everyone for listening. My name is Mouse.
I'm Creep.
See you next time.